Now, let's get to the PDS story. So what is the PDS story? PDS is a company that entered into a relationship with the Electricity Company of Ghana. The idea of giving parts of the assets of the Electricity Company of Ghana to a private operator to manage had been developed under the first President Mahama administration. Sometime in 2015 and 2016, detailed engagements were had with a company from, I believe, South America. This country where they send out a lot of people to the rest of the world. What are they called? EOCAM. They send them that country. No, it's not Cuba. It's another one. It's EOCAM. So that the people are from that noble country, and they were having conversations with Ghana's ECG. PDS appeared to have inherited that of sorts. When Akufo-Addo's administration came into power, they continued with the process. And then PDS started working, as it were, really under the Akufo-Addo administration. So some staff of ECG became staff members of PDS, and they designated some parts of Accra for them to start do a pilot and let's see what happens. Rumor made the mail that ECG workers were going to be sacked as a result. Politics, as usual, came in, and it was said that the whole PDS was a charade, that there was some grand corruption of Akufo-Addo and his cohorts because they wanted to take over ECG, because Ken Ofori-Atta has said in one of his speeches that he thinks that ECG should float on the Ghana Stock Exchange and receive some private participation. Based on what Ofori-Atta said and based on what was happening at the boardroom with PDS, it was widely alleged that Akufo-Addo himself and his cohorts were part of grabbing ECG. Okay. The Akufo-Addo administration became concerned about these rumors because they knew that it was flatly untrue. So they decided as a government to take a look at the details of the PDS documents and see what is in it at all, so that the president can tell the people that I'm not in it, this is what it is, that's what it is. The finance minister can do the same. But the PDS arrangement was connected to Mida, the American investment that gives African countries a democracy dividend money for doing N1 road in Accra and other stuff. Mida had decided in that period that they were going to help Ghana to shape up the energy sector because they thought there was a lot of leakages, particularly with the Electricity Company of Ghana. Now, Mida, in doing so, in supervising the project of ECG, will pledge some money to the budget of the government of Ghana. So that had been done. And PDS was a partner that Mida had approved. That's very, very important. PDS was a partner that Mida itself had approved. Now, there's an interesting twist. The current managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, of the ECG, was at Mida at the time when Mida approved the PDS arrangement. He, who is today ECG boss, under President Mahama, appointed by him, was at Mida at that time. It's a very important information, and you get the difference when we come in. So, Akufo-Addo decided to investigate this whole Mida process. A delegation of high-profile government officials was dispatched to Qatar to go and investigate an insurance guarantee that had been offered by PDS. So what is an insurance guarantee? In very simple terms, PDS wants to take over some of ECG. We have to be sure that they have the resources to pay for it. If something goes wrong, what's going to happen? So they are going to bring a guarantee that if I destroy something, this is $100 million that I've put down that can fix all of those things. And PDS will normally get that from insurance companies and banks and all of that. Now, they call that insurance guarantee to insure that like you're insuring your car against accident. So you insure the PDS contract against potential losses by ECG if any occur. So that's the guarantee. It was found out that the guarantee was faulty. You can call it fake, but perhaps we say faulty. And so the guarantee will no longer stand. On account of this, the Akufo-Addo government decided to pull down the PDS. The political people have said Akufo-Addo is PDS. Akufo-Addo pulls down PDS. They say, no, it's corruption. He's doing corruption. And PDS was listed as one of the corruption platforms that the MPP had indulged in. That Baumia had made money from PDS, Akufo-Addo has stolen money, PDS. When we come, we'll investigate PDS and we'll catch all the thieves around PDS. And all the young people were excited that the PDS, they go catch them, the PDS. But what was PDS? Government decided that this private partner had a faulty insurance guarantee and therefore we are pulling it down and ECG will stand as it is. How can that be translated as corruption? But it was said that was corruption. Okay. So at that time, the NDC felt that PDS should not be pulled down. That Akufo-Addo has done the wrong thing because pulling down PDS offended Mida, and Mida said they were going to withdraw some funding from Ghana. They named the figure. They were going to withdraw some funding for Ghana. NDC went hard on it and said that look at what Akufo-Addo is doing. He's pulled down PDS and therefore we are losing money. The same people who said PDS was his corruption. So the conversation came to a head at the Appointments Committee hearings of 2021. The nominee for Minister for Justice had appeared before the committee. The minority leader, the Honorable Idrisu Haruna, who is today Education Minister, was very concerned about why PDS had been pulled down, and he thought that PDS shouldn't have been pulled down. This was Haruna Idrisu's considered opinion about PDS in 2021. So what's the NDC saying today? I get very worried when I see all the publications coming. What is the NDC talking about? Your minority leader was of the clear view that PDS should not have been pulled down. But as they say, video no lie. So this is 2021 Appointments Committee hearings, Parliament House.
Says we series of but there's a letter confirming it dated 13 March 2018. The letter is here. I just find a little print to read. Gentlemen, ECG appeared not to be satisfied with the confirmation or purported confirmation by Output, where the letter was on the face of it signed by a middle-ranking officer of Output Insurance. ECG got in touch with our mission in Qatar to physically ascertain from the offices of Output whether such a letter has been issued. And then, surprisingly, Chairman, in the course of it, by letter dated 16 July 2019, Output wrote through its chief executive denying issuing any demand guarantee at all. Output further indicated that it did not even have the capacity to issue such demand guarantees. Further, the officer in question had forged the earlier letter purporting to confirm the demand guarantee. Also, as per the laws of Qatar, Output could not even have issued such a guarantee because it required confirmation by the Central Bank of Qatar. Chairman, this indeed took the President by surprise. The President thus constituted a team to go to Qatar to ascertain the truth of all these matters. The team was led by the Minister for Interior, then Mr. Adom-Otchere, had myself as a member, had other members of the Ghana, had some members of the Ghana Police Service also as members, lawyers in Ghana. Chairman, indeed, we met all the top executive of Output Insurance, the chief executive officer, their lawyers, and we also met their chairman. They confirmed the truth of all the matters contained in their letter repudiating the demand guarantees. And that our report confirms all these matters. They further confirmed that the officer in question had, by a letter dated 21st July 2019, been suspended without any pay at all. The President was very concerned because assets of the nation worth about $3 billion were at stake. And therefore, if there had been a failure of an essential condition precedent, which more or less had the effect of guaranteeing the transfer of the assets of ECG, then action had to be taken promptly. ECG suspended the lease assignment agreement as well as the bulk supply agreement. And then the Minister of Finance also suspended the agreement and executed with PDS. And that was to pave way for further investigations. Indeed, the government of Ghana went beyond it and took the steps of engaging the Millennium Challenge Corporation in the United States of America. And that delegation was dispatched by the President, led by the Minister for Foreign Affairs and the Minister for Finance, and I was also a member, and other persons, members of government were also part of the team. Chairman, our point was just simple, to ensure that the assets of the country will be properly protected and nothing else. In the course of time, the Millennium Challenge Corporation itself had also conducted their own investigations. Chairman, And the report was by an entity called FTI Consulting, dated 30th August 2019. And their report, with all respect, made for very interesting reading. And they indicated at page 19, so on the font size is very small, that's why sometimes I strike, I'm sorry, that real authority, that based on our review of the document, output does not seem, that Mr. Nuri is a gentleman, the rogue gentleman who had executed all those documents on behalf of output. It does not seem that Mr. Nuri was authorized to execute the guarantees, although the technical document authority list includes Mr. Nuri as an authorized signatory to technical documents. It fails to define or detail what is meant by a technical document. Then it further went on to say that while there was no provisions in local law that set out the concept and doctrine of apparent authority. So the FTI company went ahead to make the finding that even though the gentleman who had signed the letters on the basis of which the demand guarantees had been allegedly issued by output did not have real authority, under the laws of Qatar, the government of Ghana could proceed against the insurance company in Qatar on the doctrine of what it called apparent authority. And that apparent authority was per a decision of the court of Qatar. Mr. Chairman, the absurdity to all of this was that the courts of Qatar did not apply the doctrine of stare decisis. They did not. Secondly, it would also have been, with all respect, a little bit incongruous and irresponsible for the government of Ghana to proceed all the way to Qatar to engage in litigation to confirm the validity of a demand guarantee based on a decision of a court of Qatar which was not binding on the court of Qatar. In the face of all of this, after about 3 or 4 months of an opportunity given to PDS to produce another valid demand guarantee, and same had not been duly taken, the government of Ghana, or ECJ, decided to terminate the agreement. So this, with all respect, constitutes the material fact resulting in a termination of the demand guarantee. And I think that it was very proper and right in the circumstances.
Very well. You have a date of termination.
I had Aaron Idris talking about the date of termination, so I was going to pick up my pen from the table. It's okay, no problem. Let's deal with it. So PDS. So the government's nominee for Justice Ministry, Godfrey Adom-Otchere, was being questioned about why did you terminate PDS, and he was justifying to the appointment committee why that needed to be done. And he expressed the president's concern. So this was the NDC in the vetting that had taken a firm position that you ought not to have pulled PDS down after they had said PDS was corrupt. Today, PDS being dissatisfied with the process, sues the Electricity Company of Ghana in an international arbitration. They wanted $390 million. That's what PDS wanted. Let's see what the arbitration said. I think some of you may have seen it already. And let's get to the government statement then. Let's get to the government statement. Okay. So it says here, it's a press release from the Ministry of Energy. The Ministry of Energy and Green Transition wishes to inform the public that the government of Ghana has taken note of the final award rendered by the London Court of International Arbitration in the matter between Power Distribution Services PDS, Ghana Limited, and Electricity Company of Ghana. PDS had commenced arbitral proceedings at the court against ECG, seeking various damages arising from the termination of the concession agreement. After a full hearing, the arbitral tribunal in its final award dismissed all claims sought by PDS. All. Importantly, the tribunal further found that the demand guarantees issued in respect of the transaction were void ab initio, and consequently held that the government of Ghana was entitled to terminate the concession agreement. Let's stop there. The arbitration held that the insurance guarantees were void, and therefore the government of Ghana were right in terminating the agreement. This is the central question. The NDC felt that the termination of the agreement was wrong and it breeded corruption and it has something to do with corruption. The arbitral panel, who is not NDC nor MPP, they don't even know much about Ghana, they look at it and they say the government did well. The government of Ghana did very well. In parts of the ruling, they go on to commend the government of Ghana that the other African governments were doing this, blah, blah, blah. They said the government of Ghana did the right thing by terminating the agreement. That's what the arbitral panel said. And this statement is being issued by the government of Ghana, but of another party. Because of time, the thing has come at the time the NDC is in power. Let's see what they say after this. The government notes, that's the NDC government, notes that this situation should never have arisen in the first place. The poor decisions made during the selection and approval process of the concessionaire, which led to the formation of the power distribution services under the previous administration, directly contributed to the current outcome. Okay. It goes on. As a result of those decisions, Ghana lost approximately $190 million in compact funding from the U.S. Millennium Challenge Corporation in 2019 and missed the critical opportunity to implement key reforms within the energy sector. The ministry assures the public that all necessary legal and administrative steps are being taken to recover any amounts due ECG and the state as a result of this process. The ministry reaffirms its commitment to accountability, transparency, and sustainable energy reforms consistent with His Excellency President John Dramani Mahamed's agenda. Okay, let's get it done. So they say here that the concession agreement, which was approved, blah, 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 was the problem. Now, that concession agreement had Mida playing an important role in approving the concessionaire. Who was Mida? The current ECG boss. He was Mida. So if there's any blame, that should go to those who approved the concessionaire. He should be the one taking it. But they know that Ghanaians don't know that the Mida guy was the one, is still the one. They know. They know that people don't know that. They know that the media may not dig into that. They know. So they put out this statement. That's how politics has become. That's how politics has become. They put out the statement knowing that, oh, Ghanaians, they don't know that the Mida guy, they're not even going to check. But the guy who was at Mida is the guy who is ECGMD today. What do we do with that? What should we do with that? The arbitration thing comes down and suddenly there's plenty statements from government about the same matter. Plenty. Nobody's asking them anything. Nobody is saying anybody has done anything. The Ghanaians are going to look at it and they will judge for themselves. Because they heard what you said about PDS. They have seen what PDS has become. They have also seen your statement from PDS. The Ghanaian people will judge it. There's no problem. No, nobody needs to be talking plenty. The Ghanaian people will judge it. They will judge it. They will know what to do. So let's not worry about it, isn't it? Okay.